My name is Mara Owens, and
my name is Guadalupe, and we're going to be here and giving you a presentation on obesity and how it's common among college students. So,
we're going to start off with a short video, and it is facing the reality of how people come to college and to pick up some really bad habits. So watch closely to this video.
So what we saw in the video was initially a freshman coming in, right? And then when did he start picking up bad habits, as most freshmen do, just because their parents are not over them anymore, over their shoulder telling them what to eat. So then what do you start seeing? You start seeing that the food choices that you start selecting are what your parents would tell you to select. The fruits and the vegetables. Instead of the energy drinks, have the water. Or the apple instead of the piece of cake. Especially since in the cafeteria, the choices are not the best. So here are just some stats as to what the reality is on the college campuses. The average college student will gain 15 to 40 pounds, and 15 will be as a freshman. So just right off the bat in your college career, as a freshman, you already gained 15 pounds, and you could gain up to 40 pounds. So imagine seeing yourself really skinny as a freshman, and then seeing yourself at the peak of your career already senior, and then being very unhealthy and most likely overweight or obese.
I'd just like to add that when you do start college, you are 18, and a woman isn't biologically a woman until you're 22. So you are going to become more voluptuous. You are going to get more adipose tissue in the breast, thigh, and hips area. So it is what it is. 5 pounds is a healthy weight gain over the amount of 4 years, from 18 to 22, not 40, obviously.
So the other thing that we start seeing in college students is the consumption of alcohol. Yes, it's until you're 21, but most students as freshmen start consuming the alcohol, and they don't think, oh, this drink has this many calories. They're already starting to eat bad. Let's say they had a big pizza for lunch, and then they go and drink later. How many calories are you consuming throughout the day? So it really adds up, and that's how the pounds start packing. And then another stat is 9 out of 10 students eat fewer than 5 servings of fruit and vegetables per day. So you start seeing that the huge amount of decrease in fruits and vegetables. And nearly 6 out of 10 students participate fewer than 3 days a week of moderate or intense activity. Just because we're always sitting down, we're always studying, we lack the time or the ability to go to the gym and start working out. So then this all catches on to us, and then that's how we start seeing the weight increase. So, does anybody know what obesity is?
When you overweight.
Oh, yeah. Kind of. It says obesity is the medical condition in which excess body fat accumulates throughout the body. So the way you measure it is, go ahead, Mara.
We measure obesity from body mass index, and that's dividing person's weight in kilograms. And then how to get to kilograms from pounds is dividing it by 2.2. You divide your weight by kilograms and then square it to your height in meters. So 5'3" or 5'2" is about how many meters? Do you know that? Okay. People who are considered overweight, their BMI is going to be 25 to 29.9. If your BMI is from 30 and up, you're obese. And then like 20 to 24.9 is the healthy range. Anything under that, you're underweight. And there are also ways we are going to describe to determine your body frame, because your BMI has a lot to do with your body frame. So for example, I have a small body frame, but Lupe has a medium to large frame, what you do is you compare your wrist size to your waist size.
So since BMI tells you your height and your weight, there's other things that can contribute to the amount to how much weight you could actually be considered. Just because a certain formula can't tell you here right away you're obese or you're overweight, so they try to give you a little bit of leeway as to the your frame size. So for me, for example, I'm a larger frame size than the average woman because I'm 5'7" instead of 5'5". So like here we put a little chart as to where I would be. I'm over 5'5", right? And then my wrist size, we actually went to assessment lab and we measured my wrist, and then that would put me in a large frame because it was over 6.5 inches. So the way you do it is you grab just a regular like measuring tape, and then you measure above the wrist, and then there you get the calculation, the measurement. And then if it's over than 6.5 and you're taller than 5.55, then you're considered a large frame.
So is anyone here under 5'2"?
No.
Okay, so what height are you guys?
5'4", 5'5".
Yeah.
So most likely you'd be in the medium range of a medium frame.
Is that what we should be?
Mm-hmm. God makes us to be whatever we are. So we are, you can't help your frame, but you can help your shape.
Mm-hmm. And then since we all have different body types, not one person has the same body type, they're described under two categories. There tends to be more, but the most common ones would be apple shape. And the apple shape is just like what you see here, where the whole entire body fat is distributed throughout the whole body. So you tend to see this when you have most of the fat up here in your stomach. You have narrow hips, large breasts, and relatively large wrists. And that's what apple shape means. And then you have a lot of visceral fat.
And this is visceral fat here. So if you have that uncle or that grandpa, when you nudge his stomach and it's so firm, this is what's underneath. So here, you guys can feel this.
What actual fat would feel
Visceral
like.
means around the organ. So that has surrounded his organs.
Now, what do you think would have more risk for different diseases? There's the other shape that's considered the pear shape, and this you will see when a woman has a narrow waist, big hips, usually tends to have smaller breasts, and then this is the difference between them. Most of their weight, you could see that it comes below the waist. And this is what a typical woman is considered a pear shape. Now, since most of the weight is below the waist, what do you think will have more consequences to different diseases because of obesity? Would it be if most of your weight is up here where your heart is, where your organs are, or is it below the waist?
Which one do you think is more lethal?
Which one is above?
Yeah, above.
Okay.
Does anybody want to do get their assessment, their frame?
I do.
Okay.
Go.
So
Tell me in my ear.
You want to tell you in your ear? Okay. All right.
Tell me in my ear. I was going like this. I was like,
Oh, you are very small frame. Just so you small frame.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so here we are going to give you some tips on how to fight against that weight gain. So we're going to give you a view of your food. Sometimes you look at your food and you're like, like this might be a healthy option, or you might not even know. And so here we have like actual what are these called?
These are modules that show us how does fat stack up.
So here, for example, a hamburger that's 80% lean. This shows you that it would have like 15 grams to 3 tablespoons of fat. And then I'll pass these around, and then you can actually go and see how much each like typical meal or food would have. Like for example, ice cream will have 7 grams or 1.5 teaspoons of fat. So,
and let me just add that this is saturated fat. This is the bad fat. If you're getting unsaturated, polyunsaturated, monounsaturated, that's an olive oil or coconut oil or whatever. Those are good fats. Coconut oil is actually saturated fat.
And then these are the fats that you don't want. And the reason why you don't want to have these type of fats inside your everyday diet will be because your arteries look like this, right? So this is a very healthy person where there's no plaque buildup. And then soon when you start consuming all these greasy foods, high in fat, high in saturated fats, cholesterol, and cholesterol is usually found like in animal fat, animal products, you start seeing the accumulation of the plaque. And then you start seeing it more, and that's when people have heart attacks. And that would be the post-secondary consequences of obesity.
Is it just okay if you stop eating fat?
No.
It's just, I'm just going to that
We need fat. We do need fat to survive. Whenever you make somebody, we're going to school to be dietitians, so whenever we make a diet plan, we are going to include fat in their diet because those cost calories. We need substance to fight diseases. You know, everybody needs some kind of fat.
So
But
it's all
healthy
about
fats is what it means.
And all about portion control. So here you can actually go around and look at these just in case you want to see what your typical meal will have.
Okay.
Another thing right here is going to be how does salt add up. So do you want to go over this?
Sure. So these are just, salt affects our blood pressure. So if you have all that cholesterol, all that fat in your arteries, and we have a lot of salt, our pressure is just going to go boom. It's going to be going so fast, and that gives you more risk for a heart attack. So this just shows how much salt you'd be intaking with certain things. The highest are obviously going to be like Campbell's chicken noodle soup. We all know it's filled with. You love it. They have new alterations of it now.
Especially now here in the college campus where you see a lot of ramen noodle just because it's cheap, it's convenient, and it's fast to make. So you're going to start seeing a high increase in salt, which is going to eventually increase your hypertension. Because of all that salt accumulation, it's going to add up to all that water accumulation, increase your artery pressure, and then
It can have water displacement, water weight in your ankles. Horrible. So here, take a look.
So the ones that are empty, those are considered good?
Well, they're not considered good
They're not
so much,
good.
but they're not so much fat. So somebody was on a low-fat diet, if they had their artery plugs.
Because I love baked potato.
and then here's the sugar. And sometimes we look at food and then you're like, okay, that's a healthy option, right? Like
Oh my
you really
God.
don't see all this sugar that's accumulated, especially in our drinks. But we'll get to the drinks later. And then this is like chocolate cake frosting. Look at all that sugar. You know that you're eating the something that's sugary because of the chocolate cake, but do you honestly think that it has all this sugar? No. Or low-fat yogurt. It still has 43 grams to 10 tablespoons of sugar. What's another one that has a lot? A thick milkshake. 56 grams to 13 tablespoons of sugar. So all this sugar starts accumulating, which starts adding to the calories, and eventually to the fat, and then the weight increase.
Every kind of liquor straight turns to sugar.
Okay, so then now we're going to talk about the 5 food groups. That way you can have a well-balanced plate like this here.
Okay, so as we see here and here, that vegetables and grains take up most of the plate.
Mm-hmm.
Vegetables and grains. Then comes protein, fruit, and then dairy is the smallest. So what are some things that you would consider to yourself to be a healthy grain, like a healthy carbohydrate or something? If you would make yourself a wheat bread. Anything else? Do you have any input, David?
What about brown rice?
Yes, great.
Mm-hmm. Every time you want carbohydrates, you know that carbohydrates are high sugar, so you automatically want something that's complex.
And it's nutrient dense. So instead of having white rice, which would break down into pure sugar in our body, brown rice is going to have different fibers added to it, different things. What are some bad carbs you think? What would be something bad if we said, oh, I just want to have this?
Noodles.
Noodles, just straight white noodles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Also, vegetables. You need 2.5 cups a day. It's really better to have different types of vegetables a day. So say I wake up, I like to have fruit for breakfast, but for lunch.
I would like to have it, or you do have it?
I do have it.
Oh, okay.
I try to, or grapefruit or something. But when it comes to lunch and dinner, I'll try to have some vegetables. Do you like grapefruit? What is your favorite breakfast fruit?
Let me see.
Like if you could just grab and walk to class, what would be your favorite?
Strawberries.
Oh, yes, those are so good, but those are a little expensive
I know.
and hard to always get. But I wish I could have strawberries all the time. Those are great for fruits. For dairy, you know, some people handle milk differently.
I can't drink a lot of milk unless I'm eating it with a muffin.
It's hard on the body.
But yeah, dairy is just different forms of dairy would be like your milk, your yogurts, just so for you to get a better understanding of what these categories actually stand for. So going back to the fruits, you know what fruits are. Here's some examples, like you said, your strawberries, your kiwis, your blueberries, your apples. These are all forms and examples of them, along with the vegetables. And the meat and beans, that represents your typical poultry, your meat, your eggs, even though you think that, oh, an egg is not meat. No, it's not, but it's high protein. Along with beans, is not necessarily just categorized as just beans, but it's also different like grains that you can eat, like your
legumes, different legumes and things. But it's so important when picking proteins, you know, just to go without the skin sometimes, or to go, you know, with a different method of cooking, not cook it in butter, not smother it.
And then what you want to do, you want to make your plate colorful. So once you select your foods on your plate, and if you see that most of the components on your plate are brown, then you have to rethink the whole entire plate. So
should you have a balanced plate, is what you're saying?
Just with the most of it being vegetables and grains.
Yeah.
And then like a quarter of it being protein and a quarter of it being fruits.
That takes a lot out of
School
you.
makes it
Like, I know it does make it difficult.
because at home I used to eat a lot of vegetables, but I don't even vegetables and fruit, and I don't even eat none here. I eat
Not at
a
all?
lot of fries. No. I
okay, so by making your plate colorful, what we mean is that different type of color of the fruits or vegetables, they have different properties that are helpful for you. So for example, if you want to see something yellow or orange, you know that these have a component that's called beta-carotene. So what these have, they are high in vitamin C. So whenever you see an orange or what's another thing that?
Well, let's try to make it as easy for school. So we know at Kraza, there's lots of oranges. There's always oranges, apples, and bananas there. So when you see that orange, you're going to be getting beta-carotene and vitamin C.
And these nutrients help reduce the risk of prostate cancer. They help reduce your LDLs, and then the LDLs are the type of bad fat that cholesterol that accumulates inside the arteries, like we went around and showed you.
And vitamin C just helps your everyday go. It helps your immune system 100% every day.
So that helps fight the harmful radicals inside that try to attack your immune system. And they just help you with everyday activity.
What else do they offer in Kraza that you can grab, just pick up and go? They have bananas.
They have salads.
They have salads. They have good spinach. And
which
these
would
are
lead us to like the green colors inside your plates, right?
and be filled with fiber. You know, just make sure you get some once a day. You know, maybe you go there for lunch. Just make yourself. You never do. You just gotta start trying.
Because the vegetables, just because they're green, the color represents it. Helps reduce cancer, the blood pressure, the LDLs, helps with your vision, so improve your eyesight, especially since you're spending so many hours on the books and on the front of the computer. And they help boost the immune system, so that's always good.
And do you guys like tomatoes?
Oh no.
I love tomatoes.
I do too.
only inside.
Well, you know, these help a lot too. They help a lot.
And then these are just like some things that can be categorized into the red, the white, the yellow, and the blue. So, like we said, it would be like greens. You know what your greens are. Your
Bananas are categorized as white, surprisingly.
I like bananas.
Garlic, onion, you like that?
Oh no.
I like it. Beets, I like beets. I love cranberries. Do you like cranberry sauce for Thanksgiving?
Oh, definitely.
I love it on everything. Apricots, I love cantaloupe, carrots.
So these are just some things that you can incorporate, and then now you know the properties behind it and why they're so beneficial for you. Okay, so then.
Click on the arrow.
Okay, so portion control. like we said, you want to have portion control with your meals. You don't want to overdo it on each thing. You could say, well, you know, I am eating a lot of vegetables. I'm having a whole plate full of potatoes every day. Okay, that's a good amount of vegetables. Well, or I'm having, like the lady in the picture, I'm having a big plate full of meat. You want to reduce the portions and have my plate as an example. Again, grains about 6 cups a day, vegetables 2.5 cups a day, fruits approximately 2 cups, meat and beans approximately 5.5 ounces, and then milk 3 cups a day. So it could be from the actual milk, or it could be from your yogurt. It could be from
it can be
fortified
from
fruits,
cereal, yes, that's a serving. But this one's a little bit harder to do, and I don't believe a lot of people do that. So, you know, a healthy suggestion would just be try to start with 1. Because the milk, 3 cups a day, I don't know anybody who does 3 cups a day, do you?
That's actually not bad, though, 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
But that's like the RDA, like the requirements that are given to you. So try to at least try to meet as many as you possibly can for these.
And water too.
Now again, rethink your drink. So, like we said, drinking does come with a lot of calories and a lot of things that we really don't tend to consider. So here's a listing of the amount of calories that each drink has, just so you can keep in mind.
Bless you.
Okay, so beer, a 12 ounce would have 149 calories. So that would be like maybe a can. Let's see.
The bottles. The light beers like Bud Light, Miller Lite is going to have 110.
For the cocktails, and the cocktails, since those are already high in sugar, you're going to have a lot more calories. So let's say you have your traditional martini. That's going to be 124 calories. But remember, when you check the amount of calories in the food labels, you always want to check the serving size. So right here it says that it would be 6 ounces. For, a martini is 2.25 ounces. So I mean, that's a very, very tiny martini. I doubt that anyone's going to give you a 2-ounce martini. Those tend to be a lot bigger. So then that's already 124 calories.
And martinis are usually straight liquor. They don't have a lot of additives. But do you like pina coladas?
No,
Yeah.
Pina coladas are the worst. They're 460 for just 9 ounces.
So a 9 ounce would be just a regular, like think about like a soda can, a little bit less than that. You're already getting 460 calories. So imagine you went out,
That's
you
a
had your
hamburger.
whole entire meal, and then you went drinking afterwards, and you already added on those extra calories.
So sometimes the best options are to get martini or a glass of wine or just straight up liquor, if that's how you like it. But you said you wanted to look at vodka, right? You wanted to see vodka? Is vodka on there? Yes. Vodka for 1.5 ounce, which is the shot. It's 1 shot. It's going to be basically 100 calories.
So when it comes to drinking, you really have to keep this in mind and make sure that if you really want to have a, if you know you're going to go out drinking, you need to keep in mind the calories that you have, and as well as the food that you're eating. That way everything would not add up.
That was a cool picture.
And so this is again how your plate should look like. Like we said, we just really want to ingrain it that the vegetable should be the bigger portion of it. Your healthy protein, your whole grains, and your fruit. And then don't forget about the water. The best option when you have to choose something, make sure you go for the water. Usually they say for you to have 8 cups of water a day. That helps you stay hydrated, and
your skin looks radiant.
it helps with your skin, and especially during these times when it's getting cold outside and you want your skin to really start being hydrated.
So this is the power of the pen. It's make a food log. If you know you have a problem, you can start making a food log.
So it's not even if you have a problem, it's like you want to start recording how much food you eat, you know? A pen could really make you skinny, and this is the answer how. When we going to try to remember, like for example, like me, what did I have for breakfast today? I had oatmeal in the morning. So then I would start listing everything. I would start from my breakfast, my lunch, my dinner, and then include my beverages as well. So then I write down that I had oatmeal, and then for my lunch I had a sandwich. So then I would put, I had a whole wheat sandwich with a turkey, and then lettuce. And then beverages, people tend to forget them. They say, okay, well I had all this food, but then I don't remember what I had to drink, or they do remember, but they don't write it down. And then you really want to elaborate. You don't want to say, well, I had a whole pizza, but I'm just going to put half a pizza. So at the end of the day, you're only cheating yourself. And then you want to include your mood, just because you want to see, you know, maybe I was feeling really sad when I had that whole box of chocolates, and the next time when you start reviewing your food log, you're like, wow, I really tend to eat a lot when I'm stressed, or when I'm depressed, or when I'm really upset. And then you start seeing, oh, my behavior links to how I eat, and then that way you could change it.
Do you also write the calories down next to it?
Well, a healthy tool that you can do is you go to myplate.gov, which is right here, and I have a really good tool called My Tracker. And I don't have this listed on here, but I can. Yeah, it's an app. So you go ahead and download it. You write down, it tells you what did you have for dinner. So you put down turkey, sandwich, and it gives you all the options. Did it have mayonnaise? Did it have tomatoes? And then right there, it gives you how many calories did you have, how much grains, how much protein, how much carbs you have throughout the day, and then compared to the required RDA, how well are you doing? This is really, really helpful tool that you can do it with water, type it, it's less than a minute, and then you already have a good data how much you're doing and how well you're doing.
And also, if you do this with a partner, you know, it can be more motivating, because I know we have a lot of homework.
You're not going to want to write a food log down, but
Just call your friend and say, oh, Lupe, what did you have for breakfast today? And I'll tell you what I did. Huh? What's it called? It could be My Tracker or My Plate. Just put in My Plate.
And how many calories should you be thinking?
For a woman, it's 2,000 to about 2,200 or 2,200.
But everything depends on your height and your weight. So with how tall are you, how much you weigh, and then from there, if you have like an infection, if you're hospitalized, anything of that sort, they calculate that into how much physical activity you're getting, and then from there, how to do it. So there's an nutrition department. You could always do that, and they give you a free assessment. They actually have a really good tool with get on the scale. It's called an MRI, and gives you the water percent, the fat percent, everything, and then the physical activity for you to calculate. It's in Kenya upstairs.
it's upstairs.
More calories.
dancing, kickboxing.
The kickboxing class is very good. You start burning a lot of calories and they help you. And then go ahead and take a walk around the and I know it's getting a little bit cold outside and you're like, okay, well I really don't want to take a walk in the cold. Well, take a body, bundle up, and then just go ahead and do it, you know.
That's the last page here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we do have a couple questions. So, if you guys answer these correctly, we'll be giving out some small little gifts as our thank yous for coming. So, what is obesity? Is it a disease?
Accumulation effect.
Mm-hmm. Good job. Yes.
Yay!
You saw my answer. You know what I was saying.
Yes, and this lotion is because the cold times are coming and it's going to be hard to walk a little bit extra, and it's so nice to have moisturized skin.
And your skin get
So
very
who
active.
can name the 5 food groups?
Oh, I got a bucket.
Oh, protein, grains, dairy, vegetables, and fruit.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
really good job.
But guys, remember it's called meat and beans, but still, it's the same idea.
Okay. You ready?
I don't have any waters.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
She already called her.
How many cups a day approximately should you be consuming of water?
Well, she knows.
8
Mm-hmm.
and 3 glasses of milk.
Yes.
Yes, good job.
Oh, we got it. I'm gonna wear this every day.
I know you will.
As a reminder.
Now, what are...
Okay, David. Oh,
Oh, go ahead.
David. How much physical activity should we be trying to get a day?
Was it like 3 hours, 2 hours?
30 minutes.
30 minutes a day. It's all right. You still get some.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's like an extra loaf.
I do know overtime.
Yep, and this is everything. So thank you all for coming.